I was interviewing Christian Pulisic a little while back, and someone had asked him someone on our panel asked him, like, do you know how impactful this is going to be? And he was like, yeah, well, we'll play in Europe. And I said, no, you have no idea what the World Cup playing at home is going to do for you, man. It's a completely different animal, and it changes your life, and it will forever.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Inside American Soccer. I'm your host, Tom Bogert, joined by my friend, one of the greatest players in U.S. soccer history, veteran of 3 World Cups, Tab Ramos. And as we promised, we are bringing back another U.S. soccer legend, also a veteran of 3 World Cups, an NCAA champion, MLS Cup champion, MLS MVP, Hall of Famer, New Jersey royalty, Tony Meola. Uncle T, Tone, thanks for joining us again. They have all this valuable time. How many favors do I owe you now?
None, man. I love coming on with you guys. Love chatting this game with you guys.
On our last episode, we had Tony saying a ton of nice things about Tab. Again, these are our long friends, and it was funny to watch Tony say to, the best midfielder in U.S. soccer history, and just having to watch Tab sit here and listen and be polite without knowing how to take a very, very top compliment. So I'm going to turn that to you, Tone. Tony, you, and again, Tab, I've said similar things to you as well. But Tony, there are I think, few people when I'm just talking to agents and generally people around, when your name comes up, it's always a smile, it's always a laugh. It's somebody, you go, oh, you talk to Tony, oh, you talk to Big Ragu, and then insert any other nickname that anybody will give you. So, Tone, you've always been great to me. So thank you for taking the time. Tab, How are you doing? What was that like to sit there and make Tony feel uncomfortable there rather than you?
Listen, I'm doing great. I'm doing even better to have Tony here with us. Although Tony and I have multiple conversations every day about some things we're really happy about and about some things that we're struggling with, but we do have some deep conversations. Listen, I'll start with this about Tony is, I've said in episodes before how, when you're on a team with somebody and you go through difficult moments, you really get to know what somebody's like. But at the end of the day, you're on the team, you go to practice, and then you go home. Tony and I have developed a really close relationship over the last few years, working on a number of different things that, by the way, we don't have to do together. We chose to do together. So it's a little bit different than someone picking you on their team and then you have to go fight together, right? In this case, we're fighting for a lot of things together because we chose to do that. And, what I can tell you, that although I've known Tony since he's, in his teens and before that, I can tell you that I've been able to find out more about the person, Tony Meola, and that is, somebody who's patient, somebody who's super smart. And I think in the place where we match is that we're both planners, right? And so we are always looking at what we have to do next and how to put it together. And we really complement each other in terms of like planning things as to what the next steps are for everything that we're doing. But it's been a real pleasure for me over the last few years to really get to know Tony much better as a person and to have developed a really close relationship that we now have. Having said that, I don't want to get too sentimental, right? At the end of the day, listen, the one thing that we'll all remember about Tony, and this is more as fans than anything else, is obviously Tony and the 1994 World Cup and what he did for the team. And of all the wins, because sometimes we compare teams and we compare generations, why is this generation not getting the huge wins that we had in the 90s? Because that's true. We beat a lot of big teams in the 90s that we weren't supposed to win. And probably the most important reason we did that is because Tony Meola was standing on his head. And we were able to take on the kind of pressure, and we were, thank God XG didn't exist back then, because we would have broken all the negative XG records, but we still won the games. But, the good thing about not having the XG is no one talked about it, is we just won the game. But yeah, on the field, it's something else. And I think Tony was the kind of guy that marked an era. When you think about the 1994 World Cup, even me, and even though obviously I played in it, I think of Tony Meola. I think of the Tony Meola ponytail and Tony being in the goal and being the captain of the team. So Tony has had a big effect for me personally in my life, and I think he will continue to have it, hopefully.
Wow, I don't even know what to say, Tom.
I
talk to Tab 10 times a day, and I'm speechless right now. I don't know.
Listen, for any one of us to be speechless, that is an incredible achievement. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate it, and I think he knows how I feel about him. It's all the same things. I'd just be regurgitating all that stuff. For me, when the team part, forget our personal relationship is what it is, right? And I don't think that's ever going to change. The team part of it, all I ever wanted in teammates was to know that the guy next to me wanted to win as bad as I did, right? That's all. That doesn't mean you're going to win. There's going to be crappy games, and you're going to suck some games, and you're going to be great some games, and that's just the way the sport is, right? That's the way life is. I just wanted to know that you wanted to win as much as me, and I didn't have a teammate. There's a few I had, but Tab certainly at the top of the list, that wanted to win as much as anybody that I ever played for. So that's why I think right from the beginning, aside from the fact we were from the same town and all of that stuff, that's why I think we hit it off right from the jump.
Yeah, it's a pretty obvious one from the outside, and again, it's just really cool when you meet your heroes for them to be actually good people as well, because you guys could have been a-holes, and it wouldn't have changed anything, but it's even a bonus. You guys are good people. But anyway, let's get right into it. On today's show, we have an interview with Tony, his memorable moments in his career, the highs and lows, and I'm going to see if I can get him off balance with a couple random questions, and we're going to name our all-time best starting 11 for the U.S. men's national team. I think that we've got a lot of different answers. It's great for debates. It's great to go down memory lane. It's great to talk about some of the legends of this program. I always enjoy that. But first, let's start with Tony. Tony, as we covered on the last time you were on the show, the Kearny, all of that come from New Jersey. Tab was talking about it as well. He hinted at you were not just a great soccer player. Again, one of the best goalkeepers in this country's history. You were a basketball player. You played college baseball. I believe, if your Wikipedia is right on my little bit of looking into this, you made All-State in New Jersey, both as a goalkeeper and as a center forward in high school?
Yeah, well, my senior year, so my best friend Sal Rosamilia, for 3 years, we rotated either games or halves. He was a goalkeeper. He went on to play Columbia.
The most 1980s things I've heard.
I know. But a week before our senior year was about to start, our center forward got in a car accident and couldn't play. Was out for the entire season. And Mr. Miller, our coach, legendary coach in Kearny, said, "Man, we really need a center forward. Does anyone know anyone?" Because it was a town you could recruit. And I was like, literally, I'd just come back from the youth national team. I was with the under-19s at the time, and I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I always wanted to do it. I did it every day. So I ended up, I led the state in scoring, and I made first team, and it was, I think I had 33 goals or something like that. It wasn't, certainly, Tab scored 133 in a season, but yeah, I did it just because that's what the team needed to win. That's what we needed to do to win. So I ended up doing it. And actually, Tom, it was preemptive to what the game became, right? Like goalkeepers having to play with your feet. And I still think, man, it was and at the time I didn't know the benefits I was getting out of it, but it benefited me down the road when I needed it most.
Your benefits was learning how to celebrate goals, and was probably like, man, this is a whole lot of fun being on this end of the field, right? Tab, it's funny, this has come up randomly. Like I've said this on the show before too. Just look up your goal scoring record in high school. I can't possibly imagine how much fun that is.
For who? Just for one person. It was fun for one person. Everybody else was miserable.
Are you kidding me? How many assists could you get by just rolling a 10-yard pass sideways and seeing what happens?
Yeah, it was different times, Tom. It was different times.
Tony, so again, with all of your wider athletic accomplishments and abilities, did you ever consider not going soccer, going towards basketball or baseball?
Well, no, baseball, right? I played half my scholarship at Virginia was a baseball scholarship, so I only played in the fall. I missed the first fall because me and Jeff Agus and that team went to the Youth World Cup, so we had the red shirt my first year. So my first college sporting event was a college baseball game at Virginia because I started in the spring. Yeah. And I used to, during soccer season, Bruce Arena will tell you, during soccer season, at nighttime after we went to dinner, some people went to study. I had a key to the gym, and I went into the batting cage during soccer season, and I stayed all night and hit in the batting cage with the baseball guys, and vice versa. I would go hang out with the soccer guys during baseball season because I had to, there would be days off with baseball, and I'd train in the spring soccer season. Like, that's how I had to do it because I didn't really know any other way. And my parents couldn't afford for me to go to UVA, so if I didn't play both sports, I mean, I had a dual scholarship. I was just trying to keep up with all of it. But that's kind of what college was like for me.
Again, just another different era, and I think that's so. For baseball, was that ever? Again, you got drafted by the Yankees out of high school, right? That's correct.
Yeah, it's where I thought I'd be. I was getting ready when I got cut from the Olympic team. Tab, do you remember '88 Olympics? We were in a hotel in El Paso, Texas, I think, playing our last game before the Olympics, and I had just come on late in the cycle. It was only one camp, and I remember. Because Ricky Davis refused to play because there were so many young players. He came on the bus. He refused to play because it was just going to be a young team, right? And they wanted him to captain the team at the time. And I went back to the hotel, and they gave tickets out. And these guys were literally going to the Olympics. If your ticket said you were going to Seoul, and my ticket said I was going home. And
Jesus.
I kind of knew it, right? I knew it. Oh no, barbaric was 1994, not 1988. We didn't have any other way.
Get there.
Yeah, in 1994. But that's how and then I thought, you know what? I'll go to I have to play soccer in college because it's paying for my school, but I'm going to play baseball. Yeah, I had to because my parents wasn't going to tell my parents, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it turned out differently once we qualified for that World Cup.
I do remember that we all became honorary citizens of the city of El Paso. I think I still have that certificate somewhere.
I think it might be behind me somewhere, actually.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I again, there's if we had 3 hours, I wouldn't run out of questions. But there was plenty of time between. But I do want to get to the '94 World Cup. So Tony, what were you alluding to there? That was barbaric.
Well, we had. So we would run on the beach. Like, we had double days literally every day for 18 months. And the guys that were in Europe, like Tab, they were living their beautiful life while we were living in California doing double days and chasing soccer balls all around with one player, one ball from Bora Milutinovic, which was a legendary drill he used to do. So that we get down to the end, and we had released a couple of guys. Bora had cut a couple of guys probably about 2 months before the World Cup, but there were still 4 guys that needed to be cut because we knew Tab, Harks, I mean, the guys that were coming back, Ernie Stewart, I know I'm missing a couple, but the guys that were coming back from Europe, I think there were like 7 of those guys. We knew they were making the team, essentially. Roy Wegerle was in that group. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, we knew the numbers. So 4 guys had to be released. And we're a week out from playing that Mexico game, which was the last warm-up game of the World Cup. And Bora has us run at the beach in the morning, right? Tom, when I tell you my biggest freaking nightmare ever running at the beach, right? Like, I hated it more than anybody in the world. And anyway, he leaves. He leaves the facility. So one thing I respect Bora, but I've told him, like, I told him at one point about 10 years ago that needed to be done a little bit differently. But 4 guys got phone calls and said, go over to the facility. And the gal, her name was Melissa, the gal that was at the front desk, was tasked with telling those guys that they didn't make the World Cup team.
Jesus.
It was her job. She was a secretary.
Bora didn't do it himself.
Didn't do it himself.
Oh,
he was a secretary. There was a secretary at the front desk, and Bora had left the training. And the documentary that's coming out, I think you're going to hear from some of those guys about how that all went down, if they agreed to do it. I know they were being asked to do it, and so when you talk about barbaric in 1988, no, that was really good. At least you knew you were getting a plane ticket home. Like, you knew you could get home at least. The other way, you didn't know how you were getting home. You just knew you weren't going to the World Cup. So yeah, guys like Dominic Kinnear was one of those guys. I think Chris Henderson was one of those guys.
Brutal.
I'm trying to think of the other 2. But anyway, yeah,
Wasn't
it was
Jeff
brutal.
Vegas one of
Jeff
those guys?
Vegas
Didn't he-
was one.
Really?
And there was one. There was 4 that day. But anyway, so when you said barbaric, I'm like, no, you have no idea.
So finally getting to the World Cup again, man. That I can't imagine being one of the last guys cut. That's just so brutal. Particularly
Dominic
in that way.
Kinnear was my roommate from the first game after the 1990 World Cup, which was in Portugal. We played in Portugal, to the last camp before the 94 World Cup. Every single camp in between, Dominic Kinnear was my roommate, and then got released from that team.
You know what I remember with Dominic Kinnear at some of the trips? Didn't he have like a PlayStation game or something where he played hockey all the time?
The hockey
NHL
Right? He
94?
was good at hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was probably NHL 90 or 91 or something like that. Yeah, but
don't
that's
know
what
what
it
it
is.
was.
Yeah, he used to bring that. So funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe Brian Bliss, getting some word from a producer, Brian Bliss might have been the 4th guy in that group.
And Brian Quinn maybe was in that group too. Yeah. Now
Man,
Blissey wouldn't have been in '94. No, it was Brian Quinn.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been Blissey in '94. He was, I think, done by that time with the national team.
Either way, that's just brutal. But getting to the '94 World Cup again, we're talking so much about this. That was the last time the World Cup was here, and all of the legacy that it created, Major League Soccer, everything that you guys did and everybody on that team did to help build and create a foundation for the sport in this country. So, Tab, maybe I'll start with you on this one. Your first game, your debut game at the World Cup in '94, when the national anthem is playing, what's going through your mind? What are you feeling?
Well, besides being extremely hot, it was because you have to remember, and I want to answer your question properly, but we were playing at the Silverdome. Silverdome was obviously it's closed. It's in the middle of the summer and it has no air conditioning. It was the first time that they put these grass fields inside of a bubble, so it was extremely hot. Still, I think the hottest game I was ever involved with, and that's even though obviously later on I played 4 p.m. games on Saturdays in Dallas in MLS.
Yeah,
and those are not fun.
Inhumane.
But the hottest game, it was incredible at the Silverdome. But having said that, it was just really a incredible feeling to have been part of that team. Because for the first time, I think we felt like people cared about soccer in the country. As we're sitting there with the national anthem and, the stadium is full and it was a pro-American crowd, really for the first time, where we had tens of thousands of pro-American fans. I think it was certainly a day to remember and an incredibly proud moment.
Tone, what about you?
Yeah, I remember it being hot for sure. It was muggy, and one story that you'll see in the documentary that's coming out. We were there the night before, and we realized. You remember, Tab? We went there, and Bora just wanted to take us to the stadium. We had already trained in the afternoon. We had dinner, and he wanted to take us to the stadium. So they drive us, right into the stadium, and we walk out to midfield, and they turn the lights out in the whole stadium. It was pitch dark, right, Tab? And they put a video up on the board just for us. And I think
incredible.
we're going to see that video for the first time coming up here in the next couple months. It's a really quick video. Everybody on the screen. It was like a pump-up video, right?
And we were right in the middle of the field, right in the center circle.
Yeah, there's one. I did see one picture circulating recently of that group just at midfield with the lights on, just like a team photo type thing, which is really cool. But I remember that night and remember, now we're ready. Like, now's the time, right? We're going to play a World Cup at home, because when you think about World Cups, if you really think about the number of people that play in a World Cup, it's so the number is minuscule. Right, compared to how many people have ever played soccer. And then to think about the guys who get a chance to play at home, right, that number is even smaller, right? That's in the couple of hundreds, right? Maybe in a few thousand, if you will. And I was interviewing Christian Pulisic a little while back, and someone had asked him someone on our panel asked him, like, do you know how impactful this is going to be? And he was like, Yeah, well, we all play in Europe. And I said, no, you have no idea what the World Cup playing at home is going to do for you, man. It's a completely different animal, and it changes your life, and it will forever.
I'm getting pumped up just thinking about it. But we got to take a very, very quick break. We're going to ask some rapid-fire questions with Tony about his favorite teammates, his biggest differences, his best performances, and a couple other things. So please rate, review, and subscribe to Inside American Soccer with Tom Bogert and Tab Ramos, wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to Inside American Soccer. Let's do a little rapid-fire with the legend that is Tony Meola. Tony, goalkeepers have to learn to deal with mistakes. What was the one time, maybe the most time, that your confidence was actually shaken in a game, if at all?
Shaken in a game. I'd have to say for about 30 seconds after giving up the goal against Romania in the World Cup, and then I had to really just turn around. But I thought I had it right, and I didn't have it right, so that one. But I like how I reacted from it.
There you go. Story redemption. What do you think your personal best performance was in a U.S. shirt?
I always looked at my career in 100 caps. I had 5 really shitty games. I had 5 really super good games and like 90 games that all look the same. That's like the thing I'm most proud of. But my best one was probably the performance against England in, what was that tournament called?
93, the U.S. Cup?
Is a U.S. Cup? It was
U.S. Open. Yeah, it was the U.S. Cup.
U.S. Cup, yeah, against England. 2-0 win. Tab actually... incredible assist on Dooley's goal, right? Was it Thomas Dooley? You had
on Dooley's goal, yeah. But I'll add to what you said before. That when you look at your career, you look at 5 shitty games and 5 great games. Well, I don't remember any of your 5 shitty games. I can tell you that.
They were there. I'm gonna go.
I don't think that those 2 numbers were even. I would have probably the great games was much higher.
Yeah. But that's kind of how I looked at it. But because the pride for me of the career was like just being consistent, knowing that you could depend on me when you needed to depend on me.
What was the craziest environment you ever played in? That can go all the way back to childhood, to high school, to college, to pros, to indoor soccer, to a media game with me.
Without, yeah, the media game was second, but the craziest one by far was a game I didn't play in, but I was in the state, but against Morocco in Casablanca.
Ooh. I
have never ever heard anything like that in my life. That was incredible. I mean, the way the noise went through, like, it was crazy. The way the stadium shook, and then the other one actually. Another game I didn't play in was it maybe that's the thing. Maybe I didn't recognize when I was playing.
Locked in
was South Korea World Cup in 2002. That when Clint Mathis scored that goal.
Yeah.
I mean, that stadium the entire day was unbelievable. I guess you notice things, Tab, more when you don't play.
Yeah. Hey, when you play, you're focused.
I guess you're focused. But it was those
yeah.
two. Yeah.
Favorite U.S. men's national team teammate besides Tab?
That's a tough one. I'd have to say, because I was with him probably the longest, is Marcelo Balboa.
Oh, legend. Most difficult opponent that you played with for the national team?
Played against?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, easy one for me. We played AC Milan in my team. We played AC Milan in Chicago. Marco van Basten.
Ooh.
By hands down. I shouldn't say hands down, because Romario and Bebeto were also pretty good. but Marco van Basten and Ruud Gullit. But Marco van Basten, he hit a ball to score a goal by my ear, and I could still hear it going past me. But he was a beast, man. Just injuries cut his career short. He was a monster. Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between your 1994 team and this upcoming 2026 U.S. national team?
I would say one thing, we're seeing it now with this team. So it might be but that 94 team was so tight. I mean, we were trying. We had a different mission in '94, right? We were trying to conquer the world in 1994. Where these guys have the world at their feet right now. It's just a matter of what they do with it.
What is the most annoying non-soccer question you get asked in interviews like this by idiots like me? Because I have two guesses. One is either, hey, are you going to go back to the ponytail? Or two is going to be, tell me about the time when you were on the Jets. Because I think it's one of those two, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, look, the Jets thing was like just a childhood like dream that I was living out, right, to play another professional sport. But it's number two, and you nailed number one. So I don't know. Did we have this discussion before?
I just know you.
Okay, yeah. So it's about the
Hey,
pony.
by the way, I didn't know anybody had dreams of playing for the Jets, but I guess
said-
some people do.
I said another professional sport. That's what I.
Okay.
Lastly, a rapid fire. Maybe this could be a new annoying one. What can you tell us about your 1995 off-Broadway appearance in Tony and Tina's wedding?
Oh man, it was awesome. It was so awesome doing
And you've been
it. I
doing
went
this-
to school theater and communications was my
Did you
my
really?
yeah, in college, and I thought, man, this is the only way I can convince my parents that I actually went to some of the classes. I got to take a job.
Did
Yeah,
you
that
know
was-
But were you Tony and Tina's
Yeah,
wedding?
I was the star, Tab. Yeah, no, it was I wanted we extended it 4 weeks. What happened was MLS was supposed to start. They ended up pushing the league back. And then I got this call because they were doing all these, like Lee Mazzilli, an ex-Mets player, like all these guys were doing this role. So they called. They're like, guys, he didn't even have to change his name. It's Tony, you know? Like, he doesn't even have to fake it. And then it was so, Tom, there were people waiting online. There would be soccer fans waiting online to get tickets the night of the show that couldn't get in, and they'd be back the next night. And they extended it like 4 weeks after that. And back in the day, I'll be honest, it wasn't a bad paycheck for what I was doing.
Better than Brooklyn
I had to
Italians?
make money, yeah.
Better than Brooklyn
I'm
Italians?
sure it had to be better than Brooklyn Italians.
I can't, speaking of money, I can't tell you how much money I'd pay for a time machine to go back and watch one of those performances. But thank you for that, Tone. We're going to have one more quick break, and we'll be back with our all-time U.S. men's national team starting 11s. Thank you for listening to Inside American Soccer. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to Inside American Soccer. We thank Tony Meola so very much for his time, expertise, laughter, friendship, everything. So we want to go back in time and talk about who our all-time starting 11s is with the U.S. national team. Tab, this was very hard for me to put together. I can't imagine how difficult it is for you, given that you've been in the locker rooms, you've been part of all of these teams, and a lot of guys that you've seen both in training and in games, and then currently coaching or watching all of that. So, Tab, I'm going to let you kick us off and go first.
All right, I made up my own rules a little bit for this selection. So I picked an old time team that I would want to play with, but I did it only with guys that I actually played with, guys that I spent time in practice and in games with. So this is my lineup. Tony would be in goal. In the back, I'm going with 3 in the back as the new U.S. lineup. But actually, if I could pick only 1 or 2 defenders, I would have been better off. I don't want to pick any, but I'll be clear with that. I would have picked more attackers, kind of like an MLS All-Star game where they pick like all the number 10s.
And a token left back
that
has to play 90 minutes.
Right, so I picked 3. So I went in the back. I went with the 3 center backs being Alexi Lalas, Kevin Crow, and Marcelo Balboa. Wide on the right and the left. I went on the left side, Hugo Perez. On the right side, Landon Donovan. In the middle of the field, I went with John Harkes and Rick Davis. In front of them, I have Clint Mathis. And up top, Eric Winalda and Brian McBride.
Oh my gosh.
That's quite a team. That's quite a team, man.
I can't. I'm going to show you. I haven't made any changes. I wrote them down. I'm just going to read them as they are. But
Wow.
Go ahead, Tom.
Wow. Yeah. So I went with Balboa, Alexi Lalas, and Eddie Pope in the back. I went in the center. I went 3-4-3. I'm stealing Mauricio Pochettino. 3-4-2-1. I'm stealing Pochettino's lineup or formation. Tab on the right hand side. John Harkes and Thomas Dooley in the middle of the field, and Landon Donovan on the left hand side of the field. And then I went Winalda on the left, Mathis on the right, and Brian McBride up top.
Who did you say in goal? Did I miss that, or did you skip over goalkeeper?
Yeah, I didn't put a goalkeeper in.
Come on, Tony.
No, I put myself in. Yeah,
There he is.
I'm
As
confident.
he damn well
yeah.
should.
Yeah.
As he damn well should.
Yeah, so we had all the same attacking players. Amazing, man.
Yep.
That's so. I'll give mine, and I thought it would have been funny to just deadpan and only do guys that have played like 2010 and after, just to see if you guys would be raging through the computer screen. Mine is a bit more comprehensive, though maybe not all the way back towards you guys. I went 4-3-3. Uncle Tony Meola in goal. Steve Cherundolo, Carlos Bocanegra, Alexi Lawless, and DeMarcus Beasley on the back line.
Jeez.
A central midfield trio that you can only dream of. Michael Bradley, Claudio Reyna, Tab Ramos, and a front three you could also only dream of. Christian Pulisic, Clint Dempsey, and Landon Donovan.
Wow, that's hard to beat. That's hard to beat, Tom.
My manager would probably be Bob Bradley. Very, very close over Bruce Arena.
Yeah, had I played with a couple of, I stole Tab's rule. I actually thought that was the rule, but only guys that I'd played with was how I looked at this one.
Man, this is good because I think MLS has a worse problem of this than the national team, but we're pretty bad at like being proud of our history and really being like you stacked that 11 up. Listen, man, maybe it isn't Brazil with Pelé and Ronaldo and everything, but like. That's a lot of world-class, top-quality players for me. So I always do enjoy going back down and again, giving the legends.
I always feel bad if we put like an old-time team together and we don't know the Walter Bars and the Harry Keoghs. And, you know, them beating England and in Brazil in 1950. Like, that counts, you know? And
of course.
So I always feel bad if you're going to put a best 11 that, you know, we never saw them play. You know, so how could it be?
And again, how different everything was back at that time, not just the game itself, but the preparation, the being scouted and selected to the team, all these things. Like, I forget what movie it was, but, you know, it seemed like that 1950s team, it was like just the best players in St. Louis, some guys from the Northeast as well. Man, what a different time, but what a legendary team. I think that does it for our time. Tony Meola, you're a legend. Thank you so very much for joining us, giving us your time. Again, everybody listening to this, I'll say it again. He is the best, one of one. Please listen to him. CBS Sports Golazo, Sirius XM, anywhere he's doing work, you should be listening when he's talking. Tab, same to you as always, but I'll get to talk to you again next week. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back very, very soon.